Today is Thursday, April 2nd, and this is our recording for Out of My Mind, our read aloud. If we remember last time, Melody, or Dee Dee, as her little sister calls her, just met Rose in music class. And the last time we left off, she was really excited about being paired up with Rose. I think about Rose all the time. I worry that she will change her mind and not like me. But Rose talks to me like I understand, and she tries to figure out what I'm saying as well. One day I pointed to new and shoes and nice on my communication board, then down to her feet to let her know that I had noticed she got new sneakers and that I liked them. At first, she seemed surprised that I could do this, especially since it sometimes takes me a long time to make my thoughts make sense using my board. One day I pointed to music and bad and stinky. Then I started laughing. Rose didn't get it at first. So I pointed to the words again, then pointed to Mrs. Lovelace, who was playing some kind of jazz music on the CD player. I'm like Mom, not a big fan of jazz. It confuses me because it doesn't have a tune. Rose finally figured it out and said, Ah, you don't like jazz? Me neither. We both laughed so hard, Mrs. Lovelace had to put her finger to her lips to tell us to hush. Never in my life have I had a teacher tell me to be quiet because I was talking to somebody in class. It was the best feeling in the world. I felt like the rest of the kids. Rose tells me secrets sometimes. I know she bites her fingernails, and she hates milk. She goes to church every Sunday, but falls asleep until it's over. Me too. She has a younger sister just like I do. She even likes country music. Sometimes she tells me about trips to the mall with her friends. It would be so tight to be able to do that. Chapter 12. By the end of October, the inclusion program has been expanded. Maria and Jill have been added to art and gym classes, and Freddie and Willie go to science. Me? It's the first time I've ever gotten to change classes for different subjects in my life. Now when the bell rings, instead of wondering what's happening out there in the halls, I'm out there too. It's awesome. I plow through the crowds in my electric chair like a power mower in thick grass. Sometimes kids wave or say, "What's up?" Every once in a while, someone will even walk with me to the next class. Pretty cool. But inclusion doesn't mean I'm included in everything. I usually sit in the back of the room, going crazy because I know answers to things and can't tell anybody. What's the definition of the word dignity? One of my teachers asked a few days ago. Of course I knew, so I raised my hand. But the teacher didn't notice the small movement I'm able to make. And even if she were to call on me, what then? I can't very well yell out the answers. It's really frustrating. During parent conferences earlier this month, my parents came in to meet Mrs. Shannon and the other teachers. Instead of leaving me on my own in a corner somewhere, Mrs. Shannon pulled me into the circle of teachers who are involved in the inclusion program. She's so great. She patted the arm of my chair and smiled. This child's got some serious smarts. She's going to be our star in the program. I did my usual screeching and kicking. I think I would have kissed her if I could, but that would have been pretty sloppy, I guess. Well, it's about time somebody recognizes that what we've always known, my dad told Mrs. Shannon. We really appreciate the opportunity to let her show what she can do. Mom was especially pleased to find out I'd been assigned a mobility assistant, an aide of my own. Finally, Mom said, relief in her voice. We've been asking for this for years. Budget bustin' paperwork. A system that runs on grits instead of good old sense. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Shannon replied, shaking her head. I'm a trying to get all the students in H5 the services they need, but I smacked an aid for Melody way up on top of my list, so we'll see how it goes. I'm expecting a wonderful school year. So cool. I tapped on my board. An aide. Wow! This person's job would be to take me to classes, sit with me, and help me participate. I wondered what she'd look like. Or maybe I'd get a guy. Would he be young and cute or old and grumpy? The very next day, my new aide was at school before I was, chatting with Mrs. Shannon in room H5 as we kids were wheeled in. She came right over to me and took my hand. Hi, Melody. I'm glad to meet you. My name is Catherine. I go to the university and I'm going to be your deals and wheels every day. She talked to me like I was just like any other student, not a kid in a wheelchair. I tried not to kick, but it was hard to hold on in my excitement. Cute t-shirt, she said as she checked my Tweety bird on the front of the new lavender top mom had bought for me. I pointed to thanks on my board. What's your favorite color? She asked then. I pointed to purple, but then quickly slid my thumb over to green. I grinned at her. Ha! You're quick, Melody. I can see we both like weird colors. We're going to get along just fine. Catherine was dressed in purple tennis shoes, green tights, a purple suede skirt, and the ugliest green sweater I've ever seen. I wanted to tease her about her outfit, but I didn't want her to think I was mean. After all, I just met her. I searched all over my board for a way to jokingly make fun of her clothes, but I couldn't think of a way to do it. So I gave up. It is so hard to say stuff. So now it's Catherine who helps me at lunch so I don't make a mess, and Catherine who reads off the answers I point to on my board. She's added some more words and phrases to it, and she helped Mrs. Shannon order the books I need to read. She even makes sure the headphones don't fall off my ears. The regular fifth grade language arts teacher, Miss Gordon, is not much older than Catherine. She almost explodes with energy and makes books seem like live action plays. She jumps up on the table. Sometimes she even sings. She lets the class act out parts of stories, and sometimes she even turns books into games. Vocabulary bingo! Miss Gordon announced one morning. Donuts to the winning team. As they played, my classmates broke their necks to get the right definition, screamed out answers, and groaned when they messed up. In just half an hour, every student in the room knew all 20 vocabulary words. Miss Gordon gave donuts to the losing team too, but the winners got the ones with the chocolate sprinkles. I knew all of the definitions, but the other kids moved too fast for me. Chocolate would have made a mess of my clothes anyways. One unusually warm day this week, Miss Gordon brought in fans and spray bottles of water and let us eat popsicles in class. Orange ones, of course, in honor of Halloween, while she read poems about pumpkins and ghosts. Catherine held my popsicle for me with the paper towel under my chin. We didn't spill one drop. Miss Gordon does other cool things too. Like when she decided the class would read the story of Anne Frank, she had kids take turns squeezing into a small space she had built under a table so they could understand how Anne might have felt. I couldn't do that, but I got the idea. And she's assigned other great books this semester. I'm reading, well, listening to, Shiloh by Phyllis Reynolds Naylor and The Giver by Lois Lowry. And there's one called Tuck Everlasting. The kid never gets to grow up. Staying a child forever is not as cool as folks may think. Because of Mrs. V, I could actually read the books, but the print is usually very small and it's hard for my eyes to stay on the right line. And nobody has figured out the best way for me to hold on to a book without it falling on the floor a million times. So I usually choose the audiobook instead of the written version.